Christians in northern Nigeria are in grave danger. They're being targeted, attacked, and killed because of their faith. And in less than 2 weeks, things are expected to get worse because of the upcoming presidential election. Joining me now to weigh in on the situation is Ann Bowalder, Executive Director of the Jubilee Campaign. Ann, thanks for being here. First, why are Christians being targeted?
There's a combination of factors involved here, one of which is the fact that the northern states of Nigeria, there are 13 specifically that have Sharia law. There are majority Muslim communities there and a minority Christian community. A lot of the violence is targeting the Christian minority communities in the 13 northern states. Secondly, you have the aspect of a Muslim candidate, opposition candidate, who is contesting the election against a Christian candidate who's currently President Goodluck Jonathan. So that's the second component. The third component is, of course, the Boko Haram terrorist organization, which wants to destabilize the country and which has come out time and time again declaring its efforts to remove democracy from Nigeria. It wants to turn all of Nigeria into a Sharia Islamic State, and to do that, they want to remove completely any aspects of democracy. So those are the three main reasons why there's violence already taking place in Nigeria and expected violence when the elections take place on February 14.
Looking at the elections, let's look back to 2011. What's different now than then?
Well, the main difference between the 2011 elections, April elections, and now are the strength of the Boko Haram terrorist organizations. In 2011, April 2011, you still had massive violence taking place in the 13 northern states. And that's where the violence was limited to, was the 13 northern states. And what you had were 528 churches that were burnt. You had at least 200 Christians killed. You had literally thousands of Christian businesses and homes that were burnt to the ground. That was an outbreak of violence that was general communal violence in the north of Nigeria. This time, we have, again, the added, more lethal component of the Boko Haram terrorism. You also have a new component of suicide bombings. Just yesterday, a suicide bombing took place in Gombe City in the north of Nigeria right after a campaign stop by President Goodluck Jonathan. 2 women were in the suicide bombing. Their bodies were found. So it seems that you have a number of new aspects from the 2011 violence, which makes it even more lethal. And the fear is that there will be a greater death toll than in 2011.
Now, what options do Christians in northern Nigeria have? How easy is it for them to escape?
It's very challenging to escape. First of all, you already have in the millions, at least 1.5 million IDPs, internally displaced, already from the north of Nigeria. Many have fled across the border to Cameroon and Niger, neighboring countries, just to get away from the violence. When the elections occur, there's a great fear that Maiduguri and some of the major cities in the north will actually evacuate of the Christian populations, which also, of course, deprives them of the right to vote. That is, of course, one of the main goals of those who want to perpetrate this violence against the Christian minorities. Another aspect of fleeing is there's simply no place to go. The Middle Belt states, which typically has been intaking the 1.5 million IDPs. Unfortunately, the Middle Belt states are saturated and in full capacity. So some have been fleeing to Lagos, some have been fleeing to other parts of the country, but Unfortunately, the numbers of IDPs is so significant that resources are completely saturated and so people simply don't know where else to go. They're pretty much forced to remain where they're at. If they do end up fleeing, they're likely subject to additional violence. So it's very grim.
Mm.
The fear of what could happen in less than 2 weeks is very disconcerting.
Have to ask, is there anything that can be done to prevent the violence? Can anything be done? Can the U.S. do anything?
We're basically looking at 2 weeks as a time frame, and there's immense challenges. The U.S., I don't think, has any clout to go in. With that said, our Secretary of State, Kerry, did meet with the president about a week ago, with President Goodluck Jonathan about a week ago, and he expressed the U.S.'s ongoing support and commitment, as well as additional resources from the U.S. I think there's a larger contingent of countries, about 5 countries, which in the last few days have come together to start attacks against the Boko Haram's takeover of territory in some of the northeast parts of Nigeria. And that has actually seeming to have some traction and having some success. A couple of small towns were seized back from Boko Haram. In one sense, if this five-nation contingency, it seems to be led by Chad, if that contingency successfully distracts Boko Haram by going on the offensive, it may curtail violence in other parts, particularly Maiduguri, where there's great fear
Mm.
that violence would take place. So there's a hope that perhaps this international contingency of forces, which is cooperating closely with the Nigerian military, that this could have some benefit. That's our hope. That's our prayer, that there would be some level of advance against the Boko Haram terrorists.
Indeed, indeed. And thank you so much for your time. That is certainly our prayer as well. We appreciate you. Want to let you know that CBN Africa has plans in place to deliver relief and rehabilitation to those impacted by the violence following the election. If you would like to help support their efforts, simply follow the instructions you see on your screen. And remember, prayer is powerful. We're asking you to join with us for an interactive prayer campaign for our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, beginning now until February 14th, when the election happens. You can share your prayers on social media using the hashtag #PrayersForNigeria.